You're going to walk out of here today with one, a workable clone, and that's going to put you in the top 1% of AI users around the world. A lot of people, of course, have been using AI for years and know how to do it. Some people, decades, they've been working on it. This clone will put you in the very tippy top because of what we're going to do today. And this is going to make AI sound and look like you when it answers versus sounding so generic, right? The problem is with just AI, if you're using it and you haven't input your personal DNA into it, is that you sound like everyone else. Write me a listing presentation. Well, 20 realtors can all say that, and if there's no personal DNA put in there, you're going to have the exact same listing presentation as everyone else, right? So we are going to complete this questionnaire. We're going to get an input, and it's going to be a permanent piece of your DNA inside of your clone. And so I got to tell you, I've been taking a lot of different workshops and things like that. There's all kinds of different people to learn from. And I would recommend definitely, if you're going to do this seriously, getting yourself a coach. But today, everything I'm teaching you is free. I'm going to be taking what I paid for and handing it to you in a condensed format. I need everybody to remember, I am not the expert at this. This is the trainee training you. All right. But I do feel confident what I'm going to give you is provide a lot of value today. There's people out there to learn from. Dan Martell. In fact, if somebody wants to type these in the chat as I say them. Dan Martell is a great one to learn from. Alex Hormozy is a good one to learn from. John Lee is a great one to learn from. The one I'm going to be working with today on you is from Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. Okay, so that's the one we're going to be working with. And he got Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi brought in a bunch of AI experts. And the guy that taught this clone class, his name is Igor. And Igor's an awesome dude, been doing, some of these people have been working on AI since like 2011. Just, so we think it's like this brand new thing, and it's not. It's been out for decades, and they've been working on it. But the biggest updates have come just recently. And one of the parts of it is being able to input your own DNA into your clone. So when it answers, it sounds like you, it talks like you, it is you. It is your assistant. Now, here's the great news. AI is not going to replace real estate agents. It's not. Humans need human connection. And as of yet, the machines cannot replicate human emotions and empathy and things like that. So humans are still going to need human connection, but it is going to replace agents that don't use AI. Here's the example they gave to me. They said, would you, if you were hiring a real estate agent, hire one that says they don't use the internet? I'm sorry, I don't use the internet. No matter how much you loved them, how much you cared about them, things like that, would you hire that agent? And the answer is no. It's going to be the same thing with AI. If you're not an AI expert, look, I'm an old dog. I don't want to learn new tricks, but that's the deal. They're not going to hire you eventually. And you're going to be so far ahead of the game of all the other agents with this. We're going to get you up and running. So with that, enough talk. Let's get into it. First of all, what is a clone? A clone is this. I wrote it down, so I'm reading this. A clone co-pilot, and I apologize, by the way, I have a really nasty cold, and I was screaming at the game on Saturday where the Ohio State University Buckeyes took care of business. All right, anyways, enough of that. A clone co-pilot is ChatGPT with your personal DNA inside a project. So every chat has your permanent context. Okay, every chat's going to have that. It's going to sound like you. Now, what most people do with, and by the way, we're going to teach this on ChatGPT, but you can use it on Perplexity, whatever it is you want, but we're just using one right now so that everybody's on the same one. Okay, so for today, here's what you're going to need to go to work. You're going to need your desktop or laptop, okay? And you're going to need a ChatGPT account. If you want to use the free one, you can. I would recommend the $20 a month one because there's no limits on the amount of context you can add. If you go with the free one, you might hit a limit and then you're toast until the next day. Okay, so it's up to you on however you want to do that. By the end of the day today, I'm going to take 3 hours to condense it down to 1 hour. You will have a working clone at the end of the day today with this in the next hour. You are going to know how to use a thing called Markdown. If you don't know what it was, I didn't know what it was either. Don't worry, I'm going to teach you that. And I'm going to teach you how to work in Canvas, not Canva. That's we all know about Canva for creating graphics. Canvas. This is inside of ChatGPT. And there's a lot of people who have been using ChatGPT for years that have never heard of this. They're like, what? What's Markdown? What's Canvas? Well, you're going to know that by the end of the day today. And it's going to be super helpful for you. With that, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to want to switch in between screens and things like that. So you might want to minimize a little bit this Zoom screen and get your Chat GPT pulled up on your desktop. And here we go. Don't worry about my voice. It doesn't hurt. I'm going to slam through this. So let me get the screen here up and running. And let me know if you can see my screen. Somebody give me a thumbs up or something like that if you can see mine. You can see it? Rob Campbell says yes. Okay, thumbs up. All right, we got it on there.
You sound great,
So,
Jim. You sound really
okay,
good.
thanks. Good,
Sound
good.
really
I'm glad.
great.
I'm glad. I'm slamming it out. So here we go. All right. So we're going to build our clone. Don't pay attention to what you see on the left-hand side of my thing. This is what yours is going to look like when we get done. Also, pay no attention to the fact I'm in developer mode. This is a more advanced stage. You can work your way up to later. Yours is not going to say developer mode, but it's going to be chat. You should have this screen right here, right now. So the first thing we have to do with ChatGPT to make you sound different, when the people that created OpenAI and ChatGPT, they wanted to make it so that 8 billion people could use it, right? So they made it very generic. We're going to add a thing called context so it can be more like you. And the more context you add, the more individualized the output you get, okay? So the more input we put into it with context, the better and more detailed output you're going to get, okay? So there's a thing called shallow AI. Shallow AI is when you just use a new chat right up here. You click new chat and you go into it and you don't have the memories turned on and you go in there and you ask it a question. It's very similar to going out on the street, finding a stranger and telling that stranger, hey, me and my spouse got into a fight last night. Can you give me some advice? And that stranger is going to give you some advice, but it could be anything they could tell you, right? They have no context. Or if you went to your closest confidant and best friend and said, hey, my spouse and I had a fight last night. Here's how it went. Can you give me some advice? Which one's going to give you the better advice? All of us in unison going to say the person that knows the most about us is going to give us the best advice. And that's what we're going to do with ChatGPT. We're going to make it learn about you, okay? So you're going to open up ChatGPT. Hopefully you're signed in. Everybody should be signed in. Here we go, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to copy and paste a prompt. Now, you know what? I have to send this to you, don't I? Hang on one second. I got to put this in the chat. Glad everybody's on here right now because here is the link. I'm going to put this link in the chat box. Hang on one second. Let me get my Zoom up. Second. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Hang on. Yes, you can use Gemini. Tony Justo says you can use. This works for any of what I'm teaching you today is only on ChatGPT, but this idea, the concept of building your own personal DNA inside the AI system you prefer to use is the same concept. In fact, the clone we're going to build today, you can export to Gemini, or I use Perplexity to Perplexity, whatever one it is you want to use. But for today, just so we stay together, run it on ChatGPT. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, I put in the chat a Google Doc for you to download. Go ahead and everybody download that to your computer and save it to your computer because we're going to need to be doing some cutting and pasting. Cutting and pasting. That's Midwest slang for cutting and pasting. That's what that is. Okay. Once you've got that done, what we're going to be going to next, hang on one second here. Nope. I'm going to go to here. Boom. All right. You should have downloaded the document. Everybody got the document downloaded. It should have came across fine. Did anybody have it not work for them? Okay, good. You should be looking at this. If you see my screen, you should be looking at this. The title says AI copy and paste items for clone building workshop. That's what you should see. The next line down says copy and paste the following prompt into ChatGPT. Everything below that, I want you to copy and paste. So you're going to highlight, open the following text in Canvas, personal DNA, first name, blah, 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 all the way down, including the bottom down here where it says greeting and the bottom part. Okay, so does everybody see this? The entire thing that's on there, all the way up to open the following text in Canvas. Does everybody see that? You're going to right click. Hopefully everybody knows how to copy and paste, but just so we don't know, you're going to copy it. Okay. And then you're going to go to ChatGPT and you're going to paste that prompt into ChatGPT and hit enter. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. This is what it should look like for you. Okay. So you downloaded the doc. You took the very first prompt, including the part that said open in Canvas. This is Canvas we're working in right now. There's lots of theories behind it, stuff like that. I'm not going to get into all that because I had to cut all that out of the 3-hour training to just tell you use Canvas with an S, not Canva, Canvas, when importing Word documents into, into ChatGPT. And I'll show you why. Canvas is the word processor inside of ChatGPT. Everybody pretty much knows how to use like Microsoft Word and things like that, right? Well, this is the Microsoft Word for ChatGPT. So is there anybody who didn't get this done yet? So we can move on. We have a small group. I can kind of slow down here a little bit. There were thousands of people on the training I was on. Anybody not get this part?
So we're not on Canvas yet. We're just importing just regular at 5.1 right now, right?
So you take that prompt I gave you on that Word document, on that Google Doc, you put it into ChatGPT, okay? And then you clicked enter, and it opened it in Canvas because look what the prompt says. Open the following text in Canvas. See, you see it on my screen? Open the following text in Canvas, and then you put all of that in there, and you come down, and it opened it
I
in
don't
Canvas.
have open in Canvas. It
So
says
you need to go
connect
back and
Canva.
nope, you need to go back and grab that from the prompt. So let me show you what I'm talking about. On here, on this
I
Word
did that.
Google document, see the first line right here? Open the
Yep, I got
following
that part.
text. You have to have that. And then all of
I got
that.
that part.
And when you cut and paste that, copy and paste that into ChatGPT, it opens it in Canva. Canvas. Sorry. Canva, Canvas. So confusing. Okay?
Can you input it before you input that? Because I don't have that same open
So
in
go ahead and
Canva.
just open a new chat. Anytime you want to start over ChatGPT, just go open a new chat. It's over here in the upper left. Open new chat and then copy the words that were on that Google Doc, everything that was in that prompt, and paste it into the entire thing into ChatGPT and hit enter.
Just press enter. Okay, I got that part.
So
Now it
Jim,
should look like this. Go ahead.
How far down did you copy? The whole thing?
The
Just the
whole
first
thing,
one, first step.
the whole thing, all the way down to the step 2 prompts.
That's what I need to know. Okay.
Yep. Good
But
question.
I'm lost where it says where it opens in Canvas. It doesn't have where it says open in Canvas. It says
Just
It's
make
a
a
prompt at the
design.
bottom, but I don't think that's a problem. It's just a prompt at the bottom.
Yep. So see it right here? Personal DNA templates, what your screen should look like. And you'll know
Yeah,
if
I
you're
got
in
that.
Canvas. You'll know if you're in Canvas if it says copy, edit, and download in the upper right-hand
Oh,
corner
okay.
right here.
Okay, I think that's the misunderstanding. Gotcha now. Thank you.
So you're in Canvas. Yeah, good question. That's a good question on that. I'm glad you got that. Okay. So from there, we're going to edit. Okay. Edit, you're going to hit the edit button. And you can go in here and we're going to be able to edit this just like you would a Word doc. And so inside here, it's going to want to know your identity and what's your name. My name is Jim, and I'll put my last name even, Jim Lambright. My current occupation, who I serve, what I do. Now, these answers are going to come from that doc that I sent you earlier. Julie sent it out. We had it in the text message. We also had it on the website. If you didn't get the document and get it done ahead of time, these were the questions you were supposed to answer ahead of time. So you could just go ahead and start typing these in. So take that document that you got from a couple days ago and fill it in. If you didn't get the doc, don't freak out. Just start filling this in as much as you can. We're going to take, I've allotted 5 minutes of time for you to fill this out. Now, don't panic. It doesn't have to be perfect because guess what this is going to be? It's a living and breathing document. You're going to come back and you're going to alter this sometimes a couple times a day, sometimes a couple times a week until you get it right. And then anytime something changes in your life, you'll come back and change it. Like the biggest win and hardest lesson I ever had. What was my biggest achievement? Well, maybe your biggest achievement now is you became the #1 agent in your state. You would change that. This is going to go into the DNA identity of you inside your clone. ChatGPT is going to customize its answers based on what it knows about you. Okay? So everybody go ahead and start typing. I'm going to take 5 minutes and let you get this. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. Just get as much done as you can in 5 minutes. If you'd already filled out the document, it's pretty easy to kind of just go in and, cut and paste off the document and put it in there, copy and paste it. But if not, you can go ahead and type it in. I'm going to keep talking while you're working on it. And this is just stuff for the background of your head. You don't have to freak out on this as we're talking about it. But some things you want to know is you want to talk in first person to it. You want to say I, right? You want to keep your sentences simple and your specific beats long, right? So you want it to know about you and you want to put some thought into it. Like I said, if you didn't fill out the document, take your time filling it out. You're going to get a chance to go back and do this. I'm going to show you how to amend this later on your own when you have more time. But for today, we just need some data in there so we have a working model that is moving forward. So I'll let you type here for another 3-4 minutes, and then we're going to come back to it. Okay? I'll be quiet for a second. Let you do some typing.
You're a great teacher, Jim. Everybody's like listening.
Oh, appreciate that.
I
Really,
agree.
really.
Now you're probably wondering why isn't Jim typing his stuff in? Because I've already done this. I've already created my clone. So this I'm just kind of demoing it for you on here when you see this.
Do cut and paste, um, is it just supposed to be black on the one side where there's no input point and it's now off to the left side there?
And 1 second here, I was coughing up a lung. Say it again, Tony.
On the ChatGTP, after you cut and paste everything, I just want to make certain that I'm right. There's nothing underneath there to click or, to where you can hit edit or, continue. It just transfers it now over to the left like little outpost column thing. And it says like
Correct.
your personal template. Okay.
Yep.
Just want to make certain I got it in the right spot.
Yep. Ooh, wow. Apologize. You guys are gonna be stuck hearing that. All right. So you probably got a lot more, of course, that you want to do, but in the interest of time, you're going to go back and do that later. I'm going to show you how to go back and do it. But for now, go ahead and up here up top, let me get back to my screen. You want to see it? Um, sorry, open Canvas. So you filled in your information in here, right? You were typing it all in. Everybody can see my screen? Yes? Thumbs up if you can see my screen. Can you see it? Okay, good. Yep, go ahead and click the X out of here, out of your personal DNA template. Boom. And you'll notice the words that you put in showed up down here now in personal DNA template. Everybody see that? So it should look like this. The words that you were typing in inside Canvas now is showing up inside here, right? This was what we downloaded into it. This is what it looks like now. Like my name, it would have been what you do for a living. Should see your stuff. Yes? Tony's got a thumbs up. Everybody's yes. Rob's thumbs up. Okay.
So just
Here's the
close
part
out.
where-
Just close out,
Yep.
you said? It'll just
Yep.
automatically
So
go over.
yes. So you see up here where the X is up by personal DNA template. You see up in the
I
left.
clicked a little arrow. There was a little right-hand arrow, and I clicked that, and it got me out.
All right. Same thing. Okay, perfect. So now this is a working document that you're going to be able to come back to at any time. But for in the interest of time, we're going to take what you've got so far. Okay. And we're going to do, everybody see here, copy, edit, download. Okay. Everybody see that? Copy, edit, download. This is the Canva, right? We're going to go to download and we're going to download it into a markdown document. Now, I'm going to take 60 seconds here. I'm not going to spend as much time as they did on teaching about it, but you need to know this. PDF documents are made for human beings to be able to read. Okay. The problem is machines can't read PDF the way our eyes do. Machines need to see it in a markdown document. .md. Now you have this inside Microsoft Word, but I bet you've never used it. None of us have. I had no idea. I'm like, what's .md? What the heck is this? It's the computer's way, machine's way of reading Word and PDF documents. For example, if we have a giant 20-point sized font in bold, underlined, what's that mean to you compared to the rest of the words? That means that's important. That's the headline. That's what this document's about. Well, the machine doesn't realize that inside PDF and Microsoft Word, but it does realize it inside of Markdown. Okay, so it's going to look really weird. You're not going to be able to read it as a human, but we're going to download Markdown document. Okay, so go ahead and download that. If you're on Chrome, it showed up here with the name personal_DNA_template. Mine says number 2 because I've done this before. Okay, so you're going to take that document so you can open up your downloads. Okay, and you'll see it, and then you can take that document, and we're going to do something with it, which is going to be really, really cool. Okay, so everybody have that? You don't need to grab it right now or anything like that. You just need to know that you downloaded it. Anybody not get it? How about that's a better question? Okay, good. All right, we're doing awesome. We're doing great on time. This is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna show you some really cool stuff at the end too. Okay, now here's something that you're gonna want to do. You're gonna come over here on the left, and you're gonna find a thing called New Project. Okay. Now I'm not going to be doing it because I already did. Here's Jim's DNA clone. This is me. Everything about me is inside here. But for you, you're going to click New Project. New Project is going to get a name. The guy taught me, recommended saying, put your name, DNA clone. That's what he recommended, so that's what I did. I put Jim's DNA clone. You can see it over here on mine. That's what I called it. You call it whatever you want to call it, but that's what you want it to do. And then you're going to click Create Project. So I'm going to put Demo Clone for mine. And I'm going to create the project. Boom. And it should show up over here, Demo Clone, and the name, and whatever you called it. So Tony's is probably Tony's DNA clone, okay? Or Rob's DNA clone. Mine is just Demo Clone. Everybody see that? Awesome. Awesome, awesome. So once we've done that, next thing we're going to do, everybody probably already knows, is we're going to add files. Guess what file we're going to add to it? You click Add Files.
The markdown file.
There you go, baby. We're going to go up there and we're going to grab the markdown file and we're going to pull it into there. You can drag it or you can add it if you want. I just dragged mine over. Okay. Anybody not at this point yet? If you ever go and try to open that markdown and look at it, it's pretty interesting, but we don't do that right now. Okay. Once you've done that, you can X out of it. Anybody not get this done? This group's genius. Had thousands of people on there. It was awful. Going so slow, I want to poke my eyes out with a fork, but great. Okay. So now it should say your name, DNA clone, and it should have a file over here. This is very important that you can find this because guess what? You're going to go back and alter later on your own when you have time to customize and think about it. And like, oh, why I wanted this goal. Why didn't I put this goal in? Or my greatest achievement was this. Why did I put that? You're going to go back and fix it. This document, this living, breathing, working document is something you want to be continuously updating all the time and keeping it on with you. You get a new grandchild and grandchildren are important in your life and you want, your chat GPT to understand that family is super important to you, right? And so you're going to want to talk about that a lot. It'll customize the way it talks to you and the way it develops things based on what your goals are. I want to have an extra 2 hours a day that I spend with family. I need you to find it inside my schedule as to where you can help me free up 2 hours extra per day so I can spend time with my family. And it'll understand that based on your DNA. Okay, so you've got that over there. We've uploaded it. Now we're going to go back to the page with the prompts where we cut and paste the first prompt. Okay, so this was a document you downloaded, a Google document that you came into. And you remember you downloaded it all the way, first page and a half. Okay. Now we're going to step 2 prompts. This is step 2 of it. Step 1 was creating the markdown document that you'll be able to go back in and edit inside of Canva later, and then re-download it to a markdown document and then re-upload it to your clone. It's very kind of a manual type thing doing that each time, but the ability of ChatGPT to know who you really are and create answers about you because of what it knows about you from that document will drill into your head of how important it is to do a document. Okay, let's go on to this. We're going to have you copy and paste into the add instructions in the upper right 3 dots, this right here. Okay, so these 3 sentences. You are my clone co-pilot. Use the files in this project as my personal DNA, default to my goals, voice, and constraints when advising me. Ask 1 to 2 clarifying questions if anything is ambiguous. So everybody just copy that. Okay. So right click, copy, and go back to ChatGPT. This is something I never would have figured out on my own. I'm so glad I took the class on this. So it should say what you should be looking at right now is your name, DNA clone. I got a demo clone. You should have a file here from Markdown. You're going to go all the way up to the upper right-hand corner. There's 3 dots. The infamous 3 dots. See, there's a share button, infamous 3 dots. Inside that, you may have to drag down the participants on the Zoom to be able to see it. You're going to see project settings, add instructions, or delete project. This is where you can delete projects on things that are not working out and you want to start over. You're going to want to add instructions and then paste what we just copied into there. It should say, you are my clone copilot. Use the files of this project as my personal DNA to my goals, voice, and constraints, and advise me. Ask 1 or 2 clarifying questions if anything is ambiguous. Save. Okay.
Where are we
So-
adding instructions to? The demo?
Nope, you're adding it to your name, DNA clone. Mine just says demo because I've already got one done and I don't want to screw it up.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Does that make sense? Okay. So this is your clone, your personal one that we're building. All right. Now that you've done that, you can take a bow. You just created a working clone of yourself. Now, you're going to want to add more information to it. You're going to want to adjust it on the fly and things like that. But this is just so that you have one working. The mechanics of it are there. So let's say you're like, okay, well, Jim, you only gave me 5 minutes to type. I didn't get enough done, or I didn't get the document ahead of time, or I just thought of something different. So how do we fix it? Okay. How do we go in there and fix that? Well, we can always take the document, the files that are there, and we can go back and we can get our prompt. Okay. And then we can paste it in here, opening it in Canva, and we can go in and we can fix it. Okay. So you can cut and paste this back into it and go in there and open it and fill it out the way you want it to be. You can post it back into ChatGPT. First of all, that prompt, it's going to open it and then you open it in Canvas, right? So let me do that again. I didn't make that very clear. I'm going to do it the fast way. Okay. Boom. I paid for the version, so he's got these exercises like this. By the way, I'll give you the name before when I get out of here of the Tony Robbins thing if you want to use theirs. I think it was $1,600 or something like that. But this is the prompts, and when they give them to you, it's real easy because they just have a copy button right there, right? So I copy there, I go into it, I take my clone, pop it in there, paste, and then hit enter. And it pops in, and I can fill my information in, okay? You can do that, or you can go back and you can work on the one that it had already done. So there it is. So there's the prompt, opening the following text in Canvas. And then here is the information, and then I can edit it, okay? And that's what we worked on for 5 minutes. I'm not telling you to do that right now. I'm just telling you this is how you can go back later and you can work on it and fix it. Okay, let's get out of there. Here's something I will show you that's a little bit of fun. If you put in any data at all whatsoever, check this out. Check out your demo clone, right? So you've got your demo clone. Let's give you a prompt to put into there. So go back to the document. Step 1 was this. We pasted that in there. That's what gave us. We opened it in Canvas. That's what we started working on to put our DNA into it. Our step 2 prompt was to add these 3 sentences into the instructions of our clone. Here's something that's kind of cool. This is kind of fun, actually. So you've done a bunch of the work. Now you can have a little bit of fun. Take this one right here. Based on my personal clone data, what is one thing that you can tell me about myself that I may not know about myself? Take that, copy it, and paste it into your clone. I'm not going to use my demo because it doesn't have anything in it. I'm going to use my real one. I'm going to put this into my real one. Based on my personal clone data, what's one thing you can tell me about myself that I may not know about myself? Bam, I'm going to hit enter. And let's see what happens. And it's taking what I spent time building with my clone before I met with you guys, right, over the last couple of weeks. And it's analyzing that and it's answering based on that. And it says you're already operating like a multi-business portfolio owner, not just a real estate agent or team leader. Your DNA shows you instinctively think in terms of leverage, scaling, residual income, and you structure your goals the way a true portfolio operator would. Recruit, expand production, generate passive lead flow, and create replacement income for retirement. This is not how most agents think. This is how someone who is quietly transitioning into a real estate business architect thinks. And I took that from my personal DNA template. Said differently, you are running your current business like it's the foundation of a future enterprise that can stand on its own, one that continues to boost revenue. Even when you step back, that mindset is rare. Most people in the industry never develop it. If you would like, I can also tell you the biggest strategic advantage hidden inside that mindset. Awesome, right? Let me get this. Hang on, let me get these guys out of here. There we go. So if it's a good response, by the way, let it know if it's a good response. And then I'm going to type in there, please share. Please share the biggest strategic advantage. Boom. And let's see what it says. The biggest strategic advantage is this. You've already lived through the downside risk that most agents secretly fear. That experience has made you fundamentally more scalable. Boom, 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 boom. You get the idea. So the more detailed you make your DNA, the more it comes up with. You're immune to the illusion of safety, right? Most agents make small, boom, boom, boom. I mean, it's freaking awesome. And on that document, I gave you also some other cool prompts that I didn't come up with these, by the way. I copied these for you guys to give them to you. But these were 6 prompts they gave that once you have your DNA built that you should use. How about this one? Based on what you know about my goals, constraints, and future occupation in my personal clone DNA, what 3 books should I read next? Explain why each one would be specifically valuable for me right now. And so ChatGPT has read every single book out there. It literally knows, based on your DNA, the information you gave it, what books you should read next. How about that? How about this one? You know my goals, fears, and constraints for my personal clone DNA. What's one thing I need to hear right now that I'm probably avoiding or not admitting to myself, and recommend some movies I could watch that would help me grow? I thought that was cool. Movies. Or you can put books in there, whatever it is you want to do. But think about that one. That one will smack you in the face. It'll tell you your biggest fears and what you're avoiding. It knows more about you than you think. Based on my personal clone DNA, well, yep, where I am in my life. If you were my wisest friend, what advice would you give me about my next 90 days? Based on my personal clone DNA, compare where I am now, where I want to be in the future. What's the biggest gap? What's one concrete step I should take this week to close it? If you're wondering where you're at, where you should be in your business, what you should be doing, you can ask it. You don't have to sit there and wonder. And the machine doesn't have a filter. It doesn't have emotions or anything like that. It'll straight up tell you in your face things that probably even your best coach wouldn't tell you, which is awesome. And then this one is a banger. Number 6. Let's engage in some serious role play. You're a CIA investigator with full access to my personal clone DNA. Your mission is to compile an in-depth intelligence report about me as if I were a person of interest, employing the tone and an analytical rigor typical of CIA assessments. The report should include a nuanced evaluation of my trait, blah, blah, blah. You see the whole thing. And then see what it comes up with. And you'll be amazed at what it has. And so you have that doc right there, and you have those.
Jim, do you want us to do all that in there right now, or just do that later?
No.
Those last few later.
That's a fun thing, and I wouldn't do it until you have your entire DNA completed on it. So here's what I promised you at the beginning. You'd have a working DNA set up for you by the time we get done here. And that's where you're at right now. Now, obviously you need to fill in the details on it. The more you put in, the more you're going to get back. Something that was recommended to me, I'm wearing it right now, is a thing called a pendant. There's other ones out there that you can use. It's through the Limitless app. The reason I'm in the developer mode right now is because mine is connected to the ChatGPT. So it takes, when I'm meeting with clients, I mentioned to them the fact that I have a recording device where I can give them a synopsis of everything that we discuss in written format later if they'd like. I have it right here, and it's all done with AI. Would they like me to do that? Some say yes, some say no. If they say no, I turn it off. They say yes, great. The awesome part for you is if they allow you to do that, is the questions they ask. We get a lot of the same questions in real estate, right? Or they're similar in format. And your answers are the answers that you always give. Well, the AI is going to be able to figure out where there's repetition and where there's patterns, and going to be able to develop inside of this thing who you are and how you answer things. Because in the future, people that want answers at 3 a.m., they're going to talk to your clone. And eventually, their clone is going to talk to your clone. The machines will talk to each other as their machine goes out and looks for their best fit of a realtor that they want to use and who they want to interview. And so the more you can develop this clone and have it sitting out there and working for you, and eventually once you have it set the way you want it, make it public facing, you're so far ahead of everyone, you won't believe it. You're already further ahead than most everybody else that uses AI right now. Most people say, hey, what's the weather going to be tomorrow? Hey, what's a good recipe? Here's a picture of my refrigerator based on the ingredients you see. You know, what's a good meal I could make tonight? They're using it for stuff like that. By inputting your personal DNA into it, you're customizing it so that it knows who you are, what you do, and what you're about. And it can actually start to answer less like a machine and more like you. It'll help you when you're drafting your social media posts for the month. There's some things that are coming out right now where you can take one social media creation that you made in Canva, not Canvas, Canva, and have it create an entire set of posts for LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Boom, you created one creation and it repurposes it for all the different things. And all you have to do is cut and paste it into, or you have your VA cut and paste it into your social medias. But it was your creation, your idea, your baby. And it will be able to design an entire month's worth of that for you. How crazy is that? And it's got your flair, right? The demographic you're looking for, the type of client you want to work with, that you connect the best with, right? Stacey and I created our avatar, what we were looking for, and it's past clients. We've been doing this since 97. Our best client is somebody who's used us before, a past client who is selling their home and buying another one. That's a banger. I mean, we've already got the rapport. We already know the house that they were in, and we're just helping them get another one and sell the one they're in. It's a 2-for-1 deal. And so that's what we're looking for. The system knows that, and it knows how to create our social media to generate more of those types of leads out of our sphere of influence. Cool stuff. Anybody have a question?
That
Here's,
stuff that you were just talking about,
Yeah.
is that in Chat GPT that we can do all that right now, or that's coming down the
Yeah.
road?
It's all in there now. Great question on that, Jamie. Yeah, it's in there right
So
now.
we could take
So each of the different AIs has a different specialty. They all use an LLM, large language model, right? But some of them are better at video. Some are better at graphics. For example, I think it was maybe you mentioned Gemini. Gemini is the best right now for graphics, right? And so these teachers that I've been listening to, none of them are sold on one, like, oh, I'm a Chat GPT guy. No, they use, well, they're all Chat GPT people because it's kind of like the base of everybody getting started, right? And then people have they have their Gemini account for creating 8-second videos, right? Because it's so incredible. You can just take like one picture of your face and put it in there, and now you're flying as Superman through the neighborhood, listing houses, and then it's got you out jumping off a skydiving and things like that, right? So each one has its own different capabilities that you can have. So I imagine in the future, all of us will probably have accounts with every single one of them. You'll have like your go-to that you work with. But as of right now, most of the trainers are all training Chat GPT, it seems like. I don't know if that answers your question or not. Trying to share my screen.
Gotcha.
Where's my screen share at? Oh, there it is, share. I'll show you. I told you I would tell you. I'll do it now before I forget. This is Tony Robbins, one that I signed up for. I did John Lee's 4-day boot camp. I can't believe I didn't mention Phil Stringer. What the heck am I thinking? Phil Stringer is the #1 AI guy for real estate specific stuff. I didn't mention his name before. I brain farted on that. So John Lee, I took his workshop class over 3 days, like 6 hours a day. The Tony Robbins one, they're doing it once a week for 6 weeks, but it's also recorded, and then also they're throwing in all kinds of other cool stuff. This is what it looks like on the inside. They have it all of them have all the replays. This is Igor right here. If you guys can see my screen, there's Igor, week 1. That was a 3-hour class, getting your clone up and running. You guys, we did that today on this one. For people that were a little slower, couldn't figure out, they had to actually go and re-record it in slower paced for them in this one. So that was their AI Advantage. There's week 2, week 3, and these are all recorded, so you can jump in and catch up right now. And then tomorrow is week 4's boot camp. I'll be in that class tomorrow. I'm just taking them as they go because I know if I procrastinate, I won't get it done. But all kinds of stuff. They got the hack of the week. They have somebody come in and teach you something to hack. They have an entire set of prompts, a prompt library. The prompt library has each class they teach, there's specific prompts for them, and then exercises to go with it. And then they have an entire prompt. Is that it? Hang on here. Maybe it's over here. There you go. Is that it? There's an entire prompt library. I'm not finding it. I don't know why. Hang on, let me see it. Might be over here. AI. Maybe it's coming. There we go. Entire thing of prompts. Follow-up prompts on how to dig in deeper and get, less. Look at all these are all prompts you can just cut and paste. Personal travel guide, discover cultures, analyze. This is Igor, the instructor, came up with these prompts and wrote them very thoughtfully, so that you can see them and how they work. So it's pretty incredible. Follow-up prompts, text styles. I didn't know this, but you can teach the system to write. Like if you have a special writer like Ernest Hemingway, you can get ChatGPT to write like Ernest Hemingway, but your thoughts and ideas and things that you come up with. Incredible stuff like that. So they teach all this stuff too. The different tones when you're talking, how you want it to be. This has a different description, a different prompt in each one of them to be, like, hey, I want to be humorous. And it's got the prompt in there to make ChatGPT do humorous stuff for you. If you have a specific, like I said, author, we were talking about different author styles, Kurt Vonnegut, right? Leo Tolstoy. If you have a specific magazine that you really admire or brand you admire, he's got prompts in here for that on how you can get it to copy that. Like if you're a big National Geographic fan, you can use the prompt for that to have it when it's creating things for you, do it in a National Geographic style. Just really cool stuff. Different brand voices. If you if you like the way IKEA works, you can have the prompt that sets it up so it works like IKEA when it's talking to your people and things like that. So really cool stuff like that. But that's the AI Advantage, AIadvantage.com. That's it right there for Tony Robbins on it. Like I said, they have like some free stuff, but they're basically getting you to pay. You had a big question, big man. Get your hand up.
Yeah, thanks for doing
How
this.
you doing? Yeah, you're welcome, man.
So can you share that with me? I'm your downline. That's good stuff.
Yes. So they specifically asked that we didn't. It's kind of their intellectual property. So the way I looked at it today, I learned it and I was kind of reteaching it. I wasn't really giving it to you. I was teaching it. So They didn't say anything about that, so that's how I rationalized my teaching today. And I did take stuff from other people too, Dan Martell, um, John Lee, and also from Phil Stringer in this. So it's kind of a you got a combination of all of it today.
So I got AI certified, so he trains us to train our GPT. So this is exactly what you were doing. So I just copy and paste everything like right away. I have it all like what you just had. So it's really great. Do you
Who was
have
it?
or will, huh?
Who was it made you AI certified? Who was it?
It was either Krem Institute.
Cram Institute. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think that was through my Freedom team. So I did,
Very
it's
cool.
1 year. December will be over. I'm not gonna renew. I got learned a lot of stuff. Exactly what you were teaching about. Like it's great. Everything's great in what they're training you. It's another level. What I'm seeing where AI is going and what I thought this course was gonna be, will you or planning to or can you do an AI clone course about like a video of us, cloning us to do video? Because that's something I'm working on right
Yep,
now.
I'm willing to share anything that I learn.
Okay.
I'm literally 3 weeks ahead of you guys, basically, is all the further I'm ahead with doing this. And I went back and reviewed all this to make sure I was teaching you the right way. So as I learn, I'm not that far yet into it. Where we're at right now, um, is camp calendar. Here it is. So what they're teaching is, first of all, we learned, let's see if we got all of them passed.
Are
So
you
first thing we
doing
did was
Google?
first thing
Do
we
you
did
have
was
Google?
accelerate. It was accelerate workshop, and then we activated it, and then I'm sorry, we did clone builder lab, then we did activating it, and then we did the accelerate, and then the ones coming up next are going to be the augment workshop, and then the launch and scale lab. So that one looks like it's gonna be a big one. That's a 3 hour day on that. So we haven't got to any video making yet. Everything they've taught us so far is what I've been doing this week is auditing my schedule. And anything that I do digitally in my life, I had to keep track of on an audit sheet. And then with that, we're going to upload that into the ChatGPT and then have ChatGPT find redundancies in my schedule as to where ChatGPT thinks it could save me time. What can it do um, while I'm out doing the things I'm supposed to be doing, right? Like ChatGPT can't go put a sign in the yard for you, or it can't, it's not going to meet with the client, right, on a listing appointment. But are you doing a pre-listing packet for that person that's, individualized to them and things like that before you go to that appointment? If you're doing that each time, then that's a redundancy in your uh, job of being a realtor that the AI can take over for you. And it can customize it to those clients. And then all you're doing is basically just double checking its work and boom, hitting print, right? That's a redundancy that can fix. I believe social media is something that can take over for a lot of people because social media, if you get into it, it can be you can go down the rabbit hole. Next thing you know, you're watching cat videos when you're supposed to be doing real estate work, right? But it can customize that and create a theme for you so that you're following it. And it's one that has a roadmap and also targeted to your, what they call your avatar. What does your ideal client look like? And then it can create that while taking your personality and mixing it in. Like I like to use humor in a lot of my stuff. So humor is a big thing in my chat GPT. I want my stuff to be funny. I like it. And even a little absurdity to it. I like. Anyways, so everybody's gonna be different. That's the great news for all of you. You now have a working document, or I'm sorry, working chat GPT that you can go back to, and it's a clone where you can go back in. Again, you're going to go over here on the side of your chat GPT and you'll see underneath projects, right? You're going to find your clone, okay? And then with that, underneath your clone, you'll see where you've updated and things. You've seen I've updated mine a bunch of times already. I updated the fact that I have a mortgage loan officer's license. I totally forgot about that. I wanted that added to my DNA on there, right? Um, all these things, and you continue to update your file on what you have, your personal DNA file. And that's it.
Can you
Any questions?
upload it? Can you upload like videos? So like for example, if you have video where you were speaking, or if you have like on a, for example, like speaking engagement, or you were speaking, can you upload video so they kind of can kind of get your voice with kind of start to capture that?
I know you can use like these pendants or things like that, or if you load it to YouTube, the video of you speaking, you can get the transcript of what you used, and then you can upload the transcript into ChatGPT, have it organize it, your speech, have it organize your speech into bullet points and paragraphs and things like that, and then the main point out of it, and then you can add that into your DNA if you want, especially if it's same thing when you meet with a client.
Yeah, and I'll give a little tip of something that I just recently did. I had somebody that wanted me to do like a rental analysis. I'm going to actually be going to court to kind of help them like with a tenant situation. Literally, I was able to take the address, stick it in ChatGPT because our MLS is not really good with rental data. I mean, there's not every rental gets listed in the MLS. I don't know if it's like that in you guys' markets, but I was able to take it, put the address into ChatGPT, and literally ChatGPT created my entire report that I'm gonna now get paid for to go show up. And literally it took me 30 seconds in ChatGPT, and I just changed a few words here and there, took out some things I didn't like, and it did it just like that instead of me trying to figure out where to piece things together from this side or that side. It just did everything for me. And I would totally say like you start using this for your market analysis. The only thing is it will reference Zillow, will reference Redfin, and so I try to tell it to take out those references. I don't necessarily want those references in there, but you can kind of see that's another thing I've just started this past week, just trying to mess around with that. You can also do like load um, any kind of stats you get from MLS. You can load it into ChatGPT, the PDF, and it will actually create a blog post for you or social media based on stats, of the area. So you can do like third quarter stats, and it literally will just write an article for you just like that. You don't have to sit there and figure it out. It just takes all the data and analyzes it for you.
Yep. And then now you run it through your clone, and it'll even
Mhm.
customize it to sound like you and also include your information into it. So it's not just,
Yep.
you're not just regurgitating information to your people, it's actually coming through you. So I hope everybody got something out of that today. Christina, I hope you saw I answered that question. If I wasn't clear on that, that AI Amplifier Club is Tony Robbins paid and Dean Graziosi. Everybody knows who Tony Robbins is. It's their paid program. They do have like a free stuff like newsletter and stuff like that you can get in on. So far, as far as value goes for the money, that's been the best deal I've seen going. I think second shot from there, I would probably Phil Stringer. His is a little bit more expensive. It's about double of Tony and Dean's. Tony and Dean's great for getting you the concept, but if you just want all real estate and the best real estate prompts and things like that, I would go with Phil Stringer. And then if you're looking to build satellite businesses around your business, so you got your real estate business, right? And you want to build $1 million business, you build a 250, $300,000 a year real estate business, and then you build 10 satellite businesses around the outside of it that feed each other. The real estate business feeds the satellites feed the real estate business. Learn that from John Lee. John Lee, his VIP class, I think is like 12 G's. So that's when you're ready to go next level, right? You're going to take your real estate business and diversify it out into even bigger business. I took his class, way too advanced for me right now with where I'm at in my AI journey, but definitely something I want to look at in the near future, especially if, more NAR sells realtors down the river some more in the near future. Then I'll definitely be looking at diversifying more outside. But basically, he's teaching digital assets, how to create digital assets that are run by the machines being run by the machines that produce small amounts of residual income every single month, but yet feed your real estate business where you get your core income. And then the real estate business also feeds those. It's a pretty interesting symbiotic relationship. And you can really take the same client base you have and maximize your revenue on it. Really cool stuff. Kind of like in the past, in the old school days, if you were a real estate agent, you also owned a snowplow company, you owned a landscape company, you owned a piece of a mortgage company, a title company, right? You had all these different satellite businesses, a sign company. Rob Campbell remembers that when he was the biggest Remax broker in the world. Yeah, you owned everything, right? You had a piece of every single thing out there, and that's kind of what this is. But rather than physical businesses, these are digital assets. And I think that's going to be the wave of the future as you grow your real estate business in the future on it. So hope everybody got something good today. Hey, one and done in under an hour, baby. You now have it cloned. Make sure you keep updating it as new stuff comes to mind, and really take some time completing that questionnaire and putting thought into it and going back in there. And maybe before the end of the year, I'll do a real quick, like 15-minute one on how to get your AI to write your goals for you for 2026, to get your clone to write you some clone goals for you. So that'll be it. I'll stop the recording.